its value, and silver gained 39 times its value. Gold stopped at $850 an ounce, and silver stopped at $50 a coin, $50 an ounce. In 1980, you could take 1,000 silver dollars. The housing market was trashed. The stock market was going sideways. Couldn't make any money in the stock market. In 1980, you could take 1,000 silver dollars and buy a 3-bed, 2-bath, medium family home. They were selling for $50,000 in Federal Reserve notes. Now, Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, says now that this time around it's going to be between 400 and 500 silver dollars. Peter Schiff, who has been Ron Paul's financial advisor for years, is saying on CNN, Bloomberg, Fox News, that this time it's going to be 500, silver is going to $500 an ounce this time. Now, I personally, from my study of the last 20 years, I believe that you and I are going to see silver go to where gold is now, and gold is going to be $7,000 or $8,000 an ounce. If they had to buy back every one of those funny money bills they've printed, gold would right now be over $7,000 an ounce. Now with this $700 billion bailout, it might be $8,000 or $9,000, who knows? Okay, we've been had, folks. We've been ripped off by a bunch of criminal banksters who are operating under the color of law, and they're pillaging our country under the color of law, and it's time they stop. It's time they were brought to justice, and we're the people that can do it. Believe me. We have that document, the law of the land, and we need to enforce it. It's just that simple. And that's what Ron Paul is all about, and that's what the 1.2 million people that voted for him in the primary are all about. A lot of them are sitting right in this room, and we've got some people here that have made some serious sacrifices for Ron Paul. His name is going to be on the ballot in Montana, one of only 2 states. And that was just a quirk, because the Constitutional Party replaced their candidate, Chuck Baldwin, with Ron Paul's name. Ron Paul has endorsed Chuck Baldwin. I've been reading a lot of his materials lately. He's another Ron Paul, without the 20 years of experience, of course. And I don't know how he's going to hold up in a debate, but Ron Paul wants us to vote for Chuck Baldwin. In Montana, we can't, unless we write him in. Okay? So I haven't made up my mind what I'm going to do yet. I'd like to vote for Ron Paul.
If we were to write in Chuck Baldwin under the Constitutional Party in Montana, would it count? Or would it be counted?
You know, I don't know. Maybe we could ask Alvin about that.
I don't know how to
Because I'm torn too. I've been following the guy for quite a while. You and I were the first that made a group. And I really...
He's real sharp.
Yes.
He's young, you know, comparatively, but he doesn't have the experience, but he's right on the issues, and he's very articulate. An excellent author. You'll find Chuck Baldwin writing on newswithviews.com quite a little bit. And that's a good place to go to get a lot of information. Okay, now how do we tie this thing together locally here? One way is meetings right here in this room. And I'd like to see this thing built to where we had to go out in the street with a couple hundred people to finish these meetings. You know, so, but how often do we want to meet? Our enemies are moving really fast right now. I mean, it's just bing, 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 one right disappearing after another. They're putting us in a real bind here with the devaluation of the currency. And it may not be too much longer that we can do this, but we need to try to secure the local area and try to insulate our economy from the meltdown nationwide. Now, in my opinion, and you guys can throw in what you want here, in my opinion, the way to do that is to put the lawful currency of the United States back into circulation. What is the lawful currency? Well, there again, the solution is back at the Constitution. The Constitution, Article 1, Section 10, says that no state shall make anything but gold and silver coin to tender in payment of debt. So where do they get the authorization in the constitutional realm to even circulate the funny money from the Fed in the state of Montana? If we had a governor that had some backbone, and he went to the legislature and used all of his influence and so forth and explained this properly, Montana could issue gold and silver currency, state currency. And the heck with the federal color of law statutes. They're not law. The Constitution is the law. Now that might sound radical to you, but it's never been tested in court. So how are we to know unless somebody tries it? Now, let me tell you a little story about a group called the Liberty Dollar. I got this email, and this was written by Bernard von Nothaus, who is the guy that, he's a currency architect, and he's been in business for 20-some years, creating commemorative coins and all kinds of barter currencies, you know, and people have traded with those for years and years amongst themselves, members of his group, and people have bought them from Liberty Dollar and so on. Well, you might remember a few months ago when the feds raided the Liberty Dollar headquarters and their mint in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and stole $5.3 million worth of silver and gold, and the dies for the Ron Paul dollar. And in my humble opinion, that's the only reason that they raided him, is because he put Ron Paul's face on that $1 silver dollar coin and put it out for sale. They couldn't have that. They couldn't have the notoriety. And they accused him, because it was a privately minted coin, they were able to get away with this. They accused him of counterfeiting. Who's the biggest counterfeiting agency on this planet? The Federal Reserve. Folks, do you understand how currency comes into circulation? Can anybody give me an explanation? You might not have thought about this. The Federal Reserve, a quasi-private corporation, goes to the United States Mint under Uniform Commercial Code, which is supposed to govern banks, which is statutory law, unconstitutional law, and they buy the paper at the cost of printing, which is roughly 3 cents per bill, regardless of face value. They pay the same amount for $5 bills, $10 bills, $100, thousands. Cost of printing, $3 per bill. Then they turn around and they loan that so-called money, quote unquote, into the Federal Reserve member banks at interest, the prime rate, at face value. How'd you like to have a racket like that? That's how our money comes into circulation. The whole thing is a scam. Now, in the process of that, they've confiscated, they've gobbled up billions and billions of dollars worth of silver and gold. They've identified the two banks now here recently. Silver up until just a month or so ago was $16.75 to $18.75 a coin. I sold silver not too long ago at Coins and Carats in Kalispell. They paid me $18.75 a coin for it. That was like 6 weeks ago. Okay? Two banks. This just shows you how the stock market works and how their Wall Street criminal activity hurts us. Okay? Two banks were identified that shorted paper. In other words, bet that silver would go down. They shorted 2 billion ounces worth of silver in paper. And it drove the price from $16.75 down to $13 virtually overnight. Then it went down below 12, and then it went below 11, and now it's come back to $13.30 as of last night. You know what the real price of silver is? That thing over there in New York is a big fat lie. Because you can't buy silver for $13.30 anywhere in this land. You go to Coins and Carats in Kalispell and ask them if they've got any silver for sale. And they'll say, well, no. Well, what if I was to pay you $20 a coin? Well, I might have overlooked a little in the safe, and they'll go, I'll get a little bit and sell it to you. But they'll sell it to you for $20 a coin. They'll probably sell it to you for $19. I'm selling a little bit of silver to pay for advertising for my Silver Snowball business at $21 a coin right now to Silver Snowball members that understand this. They understand that silver is going to go to ridiculous amounts because one reason only, devaluation of the dollar. In 1947,